What's going on, guys? This is Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Back again for another great episode, now presented by the Sleeper Wire Network. You can follow them on Twitter at the Sleeper Wire Show for all the latest news, the camp hype, the starts and sits when the season starts, injury reports, all the great news and all the great stuff to bring home the gold, people. That's what matters. So today's episode is about Melvin Gordon and his holdout status. What's going on? How do we address the draft with him holding out? And what changed on your draft boards with him holding out? So let's get right into the episode. So jumping right into it, Melvin Gordon and the Chargers right now going back and forth with this contract extension. So we've seen this happen before. We've seen how this played out with Le'Veon Bell. The situation seems similar, but with Melvin Gordon, he needs to understand he is not Le'Veon Bell. So the Chargers offered him $10 million, and they're kind of at a standstill where the Chargers aren't budging anymore, and Melvin Gordon wants more money, basically. He wants to get paid like a top dog. He wants to get paid with Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, and hopefully soon to be Zeke get paid. But honestly, Melvin Gordon needs to understand he's not really up there with the tier 1 running backs. He's not up there with the elite running backs to be getting paid that much money. So they're at a standstill right now, trying to just figure out how to get him in camp and how to get him here week 1, which I don't see happening. And from a fantasy aspect, I currently am not putting him on my draft boards for the simple fact that no new news is happening. My draft is in 2 weeks, is at the end of the month, like a normal person. You know, for the normal people out there, we're not really stressed about any of this holdout. Usually this mess is cleared up, you know, right before week 1, so we're not really worried about it. But for the people who are drafting like last week and then this week and, you know, days and days that are coming in, I know you guys are really pressed about this, about people holding out, especially with the Zeke situation. But back to Melvin Gordon. So he wants to get paid like a top dog. He's currently, you know, the 27th like running back in salary, where he's not really up there where he should be getting paid at least, you know, at least 10 to 11 million dollars, which is what, you know, the Chargers offer. But he thinks that he's up there with the tier 1 guys, which is, you know, it can be a case builded up, you know, where he should be up there in the 13-14 range, but it is what it is. His numbers just don't compare to what Todd Gurley did last year. His numbers just don't compare what Zeke did. You know what I mean? So, and with him missing 4 games last year, doesn't build exactly a great case going into this season of why you need to get paid right now. But if you want to look at it from his perspective, he's 26 years old. They're probably going to, you know, flex their fifth year option on him and then franchise tag him twice. We've seen this happen before. So being with the franchise tag twice, we've seen that happen with Bell. Bell didn't sign his second franchise tag and held out, and he's on the Jets now in 2019. So that's how that played out. I don't necessarily think this is how it's going to play out for Melvin Gordon now. He needs to understand his impact to the team isn't as impactful as a Zeke or a Gurley or even Le'Veon Bell when he was on the Steelers. So he needs to understand his role. Know your role, basically, you jabroni. But anyway, Gordon is a great player. Let's not knock his talent. He's a great player, but I think the Chargers will be okay and comfortable with Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson in that backfield. They can live without Melvin Gordon there. I honestly think that they're doing the right thing by not budging and putting themselves in salary cap hell, trying to pay this man top dollar money when he's not performing like so, and he's injured, or you know what I mean, like he's not putting up numbers. Like Austin Eckler is averaging more yards per carry than him right now. So it doesn't make sense why he wants to do this now, but then at the same time I think he's 26 years old, and not many running backs in their 30s, like close to the 30s, get paid top dollar. They don't cash in around that age. They usually, you know, 5th year option, franchise tag, and then boom, you're off to another team. You're jumping team to team. So it's kind of like that's how it's going to play out if he stays on the Chargers. So I kind of hope he does get traded, so where he can cash in now, being that he's 26 years old and he's trying to get paid, people. That's all it is. It's absurd of, you know, how they do with the pay gaps between the running backs, receivers, and quarterbacks. So it's understandable where it's trending now where running backs are starting to hold out. Like I said before, I wouldn't be surprised if CMC or Alvin Kamara or even Saquon Barkley, when his time is up, hold out because of things that we keep seeing playing out. I honestly think that Bell may have started something good, but then bad at the same time, from a fan standpoint, because you kind of just want your players to play. And from a fantasy point, you kind of just want to know, are they going to play week one without, pulling your hair out, stressing like what the hell's going on type ordeal. But it's understandable from both sides. And I do want Gordon to get paid because he is a good running back, but he doesn't deserve to get paid like the top tier guys that I mentioned before. It's just not there. I just don't see it happening. And I don't think the Chargers are going to budge any more than 10 mil, like they said before. So Gordon's waiting on the call. That's probably never going to happen. So which probably eventually will happen, though. He wants to get credit for this year. So he'll probably end up coming week 7. So he doesn't end up, just washing this whole year to where he'll be back to square one next year. So he wants to play football. These guys love playing football. I know they do. It's not always about the money, but it's about them taking care of their future. That guaranteed money needs to be up more. I do agree with that. So they can, take care of their bodies, because running backs take a beating, people. So they take the most beatings to where they're not getting paid and compensated the right amount of cash for it. You know what I mean? That guaranteed money is always low, or they have to wait after the second franchise tag just to get paid. So it's crazy. Like, this man is 26 years old. He's not going to be playing how he is now when he's 28 years old or 29 years old. So it's kind of like you're just stringing him along as much as you can just to replace him with a younger running back. Pretty fucked up, if you ask me. So from a fantasy aspect, the third round, I don't like it. I'd rather be the guy to miss on Melvin Gordon, and then he holds out, and be the guy later in the rounds to grab Austin Eckler, like the 6th or 7th round, instead of grabbing Gordon. Basically a wasted pick. You're just basically throwing your pick out the window once you take Melvin Gordon in the 3rd round or higher. So I'd rather be that guy with Austin Eckler on my team and watching my league mate, get Melvin Gordon in the 3rd round and watching his team just crumble to shreds. So I'm good with that. I'm happy to see that happen to my league mate. Not me, not you, of course. So you want to bring home the gold. That's what matters. That's why we're doing this, right? This is why you're here watching this. You want to bring home the gold. So I can't stress enough, with him holding out, he 100% supported what Le'Veon Bell did. Like, there's video of him, like, basically motioning like he would do the same. You know what I mean? So I can't have that weighing on my head come draft day and confidently walk up there like an idiot and pick him to be on my team. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. That's not happening, and I hope that doesn't make sense to you. So Melvin Gordon is probably 110% holding out this season. He's not going to see you week 1, people, so it's not going to happen. So I can't stress enough of why you should not draft him. He's a definite stay away from. Melvin Gordon will burn you, people. I'm telling you, he's going to burn you. Just like Le'Veon Bell did last year. He's going to burn you. So people took Bell as high as the 3rd pick, or even some went 101 with him. I don't know how they did that. And he completely just shambled those teams, like destroyed those teams. Everybody I know that drafted Bell did not make playoffs. Did not. And if you did, good for you. And of course, I'm talking redraft, not Keepers League or any of the other stuff. PPR, redraft only. That's all I'm talking about. But all the people I know, they were just basically screwed from week 1 with Bell not showing up. So let's not be that guy to waste a 3rd round pick with still good quality players in the 3rd round there. You still have Leonard Fournette, you got the Sony Michel, you got a bunch of people still there. David Montgomery that, are cooking up and buzzing right now in camp. You still have guys in the 3rd round that can still help you out. So let's not waste a pick with a guy that's holding out for sure, where they're at a stalemate in contracts and they're just waiting on each other's calls for one of them to budge. It's not going to happen, people. So can't stress enough about Melvin Gordon holding out. Do not draft. Stay away. Stay away. So that wraps up another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Today's episode was an episode, I tell you that. There's no real news or any updates on Melvin Gordon holding out, so I can't stress enough to stay away from him. He is dangerous. He will burn your team, people. So look for other people there. Look for other running backs there, good quality guys still there. So he's not a guy you want to pick up. So I'll see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.